Be me 32, working as a communications consultant for tech startups. One evening, I'm at dinner with my friend Rachel and her boyfriend Michael. Michael works construction, something with electrical work. We're talking about the wage gap, and I bring up how women don't get paid fairly for the same work. Michael says, well, in trades, women can make the exact same hourly rate as men from day one. I tell him that's missing the point, that there are systemic barriers keeping women out. Like what? He asks. Like the entire culture is built to exclude us. The hours, the expectations, the way jobs are structured. He shrugs. I work with 2 women electricians. They do fine. 2 out of how many? About 40 on our crew, but that's because not many women apply. I'm getting annoyed now. Maybe they don't apply because they know they won't be welcomed, because the entire system is designed around male bodies and male lifestyles. Michael leans back. Have you ever actually worked a blue-collar job? I don't need to work one to understand the economics and sociology of it, right? But you're making claims about the day-to-day reality without experiencing it. Rachel jumps in, trying to smooth things over. But I'm on a roll now. I don't need to experience every form of oppression to recognize it exists. That's the whole point of analysis and critical thinking. But how do you know what barriers are real versus what you're assuming? Michael asks. Because I can look at the data. Women are dramatically underrepresented in trades. Sure, but you're claiming it's because of how the work is structured. I'm saying maybe there are other reasons. Like what? Biological essentialism? You think women just naturally don't want to do physical work? I think people have preferences, yeah. And I think until you've actually tried the work, you're just guessing about why the gender split exists. This pisses me off because he's being so reductive. So your argument is that I can't have an opinion about labour practices unless I've personally done every job? Not every job. Just maybe don't make sweeping claims about construction work when you've never been on a site. Dinner ends awkwardly, but the conversation sticks with me. Over the next few days, I keep thinking about it. What really annoys me is this idea that I need to prove something. Like my analysis isn't valid unless I have some personal experience. That's not how knowledge works. But then I think, what if I did it? What if I actually worked a blue-collar job for a bit? Not to prove Michael right, but to prove him wrong. To show that the barriers are real and documentable. I start researching. Find out about a local moving company that's specifically trying to hire more women. It's called Metro Movers. They do residential and commercial. I call and talk to the owner, a guy named James. Yeah, we're definitely looking for people. When can you start? What's the training process like? Training? You show up Monday morning at 6 a.m. We'll pair you with an experienced crew. You learn on the job. I hesitate. Is there like an orientation? Paperwork? Paperwork is 15 minutes. Orientation is watching other people move furniture and then moving furniture. Okay, this is perfect actually. Proves my point about lack of structure and onboarding. I tell him I'll be there Monday. Spend the weekend buying work boots and gloves. Rachel texts me asking if I'm serious about this. I tell her absolutely. I'm going to do this for a week, document everything, and write about the experience. Maybe pitch it to some online publications. A week in the trenches, what I learned trying blue-collar work. Something like that. Monday morning, 5:45 a.m. I'm at the Metro Movers warehouse. It's cold and I'm already tired. James introduces me to my crew for the day. There's Tommy, mid-40s, looks like he's been doing this forever. And Benjamin, younger guy, maybe 25. Tommy looks me up and down. You done? This before? No, first day. Cool. Stay hydrated, don't try to be a hero. Ask for help with the heavy stuff. We load up the truck with blankets, dollies, straps. First job is a 1-bedroom apartment, 3rd floor, no elevator. We get there and Tommy starts explaining the process. Assess everything first. Figure out what comes apart, what goes as is. Plan the route. Seems straightforward. We start with boxes. I'm carrying boxes down 3 flights of stairs. After the 4th trip, I'm already breathing hard. Benjamin passes me on the stairs carrying 2 boxes stacked. Pace yourself, he says. It's a marathon, not a sprint. By the time we get to the furniture, I'm already sore. We're doing a couch next. Tommy and Benjamin lift it easily. I take the middle, except I'm not really helping, I can tell. My arms are shaking and they're basically just letting me pretend to carry weight. We get it down the first flight and Tommy calls for a break. You good? He asks me. Yeah, totally fine. Your face is super red. I'm just warm. We keep going. By the time we finish the first job, it's 10 a.m. and I feel like I've been hit by a truck. My hands hurt, my back hurts, my legs hurt. Tommy buys us coffee and breakfast sandwiches. We sit in the truck, eating. So what made you want to do moving? Benjamin asks. I wanted to try something different. Physical work. Different from what? I do communications consulting normally. Tommy laughs. Consulting. That's one of those jobs where you tell other people how to do their jobs, right? It's more complex than that, but sure. So why moving? Why not like warehouse work or something easier? I guess I wanted to challenge myself. And also prove a point, but I don't say that part. Well, you picked a hell of a week. We got 3 big jobs lined up. The next job is a 3-bedroom house. Full family moving across town. This one takes all day. Furniture, boxes, a whole garage worth of stuff. At one point, we're moving a dresser, and I suggest we should take the drawers out first. Makes it lighter and easier to carry, I say. Tommy shakes his head. Makes it more trips. We keep the drawers in, move it in one go. But isn't that harder on your back? You use your legs, not your back. Here, watch. He demonstrates the proper lifting technique. I try to copy him, but I can feel I'm not doing it right. My back is still taking most of the strain. By 2 p.m., I'm running on pure stubbornness. We stop for lunch, sitting on the truck bumper. The client brings us out water and thanks us. She specifically thanks Tommy and Benjamin by name, barely looks at me. I notice this. Benjamin notices me noticing. She's known Tommy for years. He's moved her 3 times. Oh. We finish the job around 6 p.m. I can barely climb into the truck. Tommy drops me back at the warehouse. Same time tomorrow? Yeah, I say, even though everything in me wants to quit right now. I drive home in a daze. My apartment feels like a palace. I stand in the shower for 30 minutes. My hands are blistered. I didn't bring the right gloves, apparently. I'm too tired to eat dinner. Just collapse into bed. Tuesday morning is worse. My whole body hurts in ways I didn't know were possible. My alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and I actually consider calling in sick, but that would prove Michael's point. That would be admitting I can't handle it. I drag myself out of bed. At the warehouse, Tommy takes one look at me and laughs. Day 2 is always the hardest. I'm fine. Sure you are. Here. He tosses me a bottle of ibuprofen. Today we're doing an office relocation. Cubicles, desks, filing cabinets. Everything is heavy and awkward. We're working with another crew today. There's a woman on the other crew. Her name is Sarah. She's probably mid-30s, built like she does CrossFit. During a break, I try to talk to her. How long have you been doing this? 4 years. Do you like it? Pays well? Good workout. Boss is fair. Do you ever feel like the job isn't really designed for women? She gives me a weird look. Designed how? Like the physical requirements, the way everything is structured. It's moving furniture. It's physical. That's the job. Right. But doesn't that inherently favor men? I mean, some guys are stronger than me. Some guys I'm stronger than. You get better at it over time. But on average, look, she says, cutting me off, I don't really think about it that way. I show up, do the work, get paid. Same as everyone else. But don't you think there are systemic issues? I think you're overthinking it. She walks away. I'm annoyed by this interaction. She's participating in her own marginalization without even realizing it. The rest of the day is brutal. At one point, I drop my end of a desk. It's not a big deal. Nothing breaks. But Tommy has to quickly adjust his grip. You okay? He asks. Yeah, sorry, my hands just slipped. Take a minute if you need. I'm fine. But I'm not fine. Every part of me hurts. And I'm starting to realize I'm not actually contributing that much. Mostly I'm moving boxes and the lighter stuff. Tommy and Benjamin and the other guys are doing all the heavy lifting. Literally. Wednesday I wake up and I can barely move my arms. Seriously consider quitting. Text Rachel. This is insane. My whole body is destroyed. She texts back. You don't have to prove anything. Just stop if it's too much. But that feels like giving up. I show up to work. James is at the warehouse today. He pulls me aside. How you holding up? Good. Fine. Tommy says you're working hard. Thanks. Look, I appreciate you giving this a shot. Not many people make it past day 2, but if this isn't for you, no shame in that. Something about the way he says it irritates me. Like he's already written me off. I'll be fine. Just adjusting. Alright, we got a big job today. Storage unit cleanout. The storage unit is a nightmare. It's a 10 by 20 unit, packed floor to ceiling. Someone's entire life in boxes. We have to move it all to a truck, drive it to a donation center. It's hot, dusty, and everything weighs a ton. Old furniture, boxes of books, random junk. I'm trying to keep up, but I'm so slow. Every trip to the truck takes me twice as long as Tommy or Benjamin. At lunch, we're sitting in the shade. Benjamin asks me, so what's your plan after this week? What do you mean? Like you going back to your consulting job? Yeah, this is just temporary. I wanted to try it out. Tommy jumps in. Can I ask you something? And don't take this the wrong way. Sure. Why are you really doing this? Because you seem miserable. I bristle. I'm not miserable. It's just hard work. Right. But you got a good job already. Why put yourself through this? I decide to be honest. I wanted to understand the barriers women face in blue-collar work. They both look at each other. Benjamin speaks carefully. What barriers? The physical demands, the way the job is structured, the culture. Tommy sets down his sandwich. Okay, I'll bite. What about the culture? Well, it's a male-dominated field. That creates certain dynamics. What dynamics? Like expectations, assumptions about who can do the work. You mean like me assuming you're strong enough to move furniture? Kind of, yes. Tommy laughs, but not in a mean way. But you're not strong enough. Yet. That's not an assumption, that's just reality. Right, but that's because the job is designed around male bodies. Benjamin leans forward. How would you design it differently? I haven't really thought about this specifically. Maybe smaller loads, more trips, better equipment? We have equipment, dollies, straps, lifts. You've seen us use them, but the default is still manual lifting. Because that's literally the job, Tommy says. Moving things from point A to point B. How else would you do it? I'm saying maybe the job itself is structured in a way that excludes people. Tommy looks genuinely confused now. But people hire us to move heavy stuff. That's the service. Should we just not move heavy stuff? You could use more equipment, more automation. That costs money, which means we'd have to charge more, which means we'd lose clients. Benjamin adds, and even with equipment, someone has to operate it. Someone has to lift things onto the dolly. Someone has to navigate the stairs. I understand that. I'm just saying the barrier to entry is really high. Tommy nods slowly. Yeah, it's hard work. That's why it pays decent. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But doesn't it bother you that it's almost all men? Sarah seems to do fine, Benjamin says. One woman out of dozens of men. So what's your solution? Tommy asks. Should we hire people who can't do the work? No, but because that's what it sounds like. You're saying the job is too hard, but the job is what it is. We can't change physics. I'm getting frustrated because they're missing the point. I'm talking about systemic issues, about why women don't enter these fields in the first place. Maybe because it's hard and they don't want to, Benjamin suggests. Or maybe because they're socialized not to see it as an option. Tommy shrugs. Could be. But once they're here, once they try it, it's the same for everyone. You show up, you move stuff, you get paid. But the showing up part is harder for some people. Sure. But that's true for everyone in different ways. I got arthritis in my knee. That makes it harder for me. Should the job change because of that? I don't have a good answer. We finish lunch in silence. The rest of the week is more of the same. Brutal, physical work that I'm barely keeping up with. By Friday, I'm running on pure spite. My body has adjusted slightly, but I'm still the weakest link. Our last job of the week is a big one. 4-bedroom house, full family, lots of stuff. We're working with a full crew. Sarah's there again, plus a few other guys I haven't met. One of them is named Leo, older guy, probably late 50s. We're in the truck during a break, and somehow we get on the topic of pay. I mention the wage gap. Leo raises an eyebrow. What wage gap? We all get paid the same hourly rate. I mean the broader wage gap. Women earning less than men overall. Oh, that. Yeah, I never really bought into that. Here we go. It's documented fact, I say. It's documented that women earn less on average, but that's not the same as for the same work. There are studies that control for occupation and experience, and they show a gap of like, what, a few percent? Which could be explained by negotiation, hours worked, all kinds of things. Sarah jumps in, surprisingly. I negotiated my rate when I got hired. Got an extra $1.50 per hour just by asking. Leo nods. Exactly. That's on you to negotiate. But women are socialized not to negotiate, I counter. So whose fault is that? Leo asks. Should employers just offer more money to people who don't ask? Maybe there should be more transparency. Standard rates. We have standard rates. Starting pay is $18 an hour. But if you prove yourself, you can negotiate up. That's fair. But if women are less likely to negotiate, then that's something women need to work on, Sarah says flatly. I'm not going to make less money because other women don't ask. I'm surprised by her stance. Don't you think there are structural reasons why women negotiate less? Sure, maybe. But at some point you have to take responsibility for yourself. Leo agrees. Look, I got a daughter. I taught her to stand up for herself, ask for what she's worth. That's what parents should do, but not everyone has that support. And that sucks, Leo says. but it's not my employer's job to fix everyone's childhood. The conversation shifts, but I'm still thinking about it. Are they right? Am I making excuses? No. That's not fair to myself. Structural issues are real, even if individuals can sometimes overcome them. We finished the last job around 7 p.m. Friday. I'm dead on my feet. James comes by as we're cleaning out the truck. So, you made it a week. That's more than most. Yeah. You coming back Monday? I haven't really decided. My body is screaming no. But my pride is saying I can't quit. Can I think about it over the weekend? Sure. Let me know by Sunday night. I drive home and collapse. Saturday, I can barely get out of bed. My hands are still blistered despite the gloves. My back feels like it's made of broken glass. I look at myself in the mirror. I've lost maybe 3 pounds. There are bruises on my arms and legs from bumping into furniture. Rachel calls me. So, how was it? Honestly, horrible. Everything hurts. Are you going back? I don't know. Maybe I proved my point already. What point did you prove? I think about this. That it's really physically demanding work. Did anyone say it wasn't? No, but the experience of it, living it, and I don't know, everyone there just acts like it's normal, like this is just what work is. Maybe for them it is. But that's the problem, it doesn't have to be this way. How else would it be? It's moving furniture. Even Rachel is doing this now. You sound like Michael. She laughs. Maybe Michael had a point. You're supposed to be on my side. I am on your side. I'm on the side of you not destroying your body to prove something to people who don't care. Sunday I spend the whole day thinking, do I go back Monday? What have I actually learned? That the work is hard? I knew that already. That I'm not physically capable of doing it well? That's becoming clear. That the people who do it don't see the same barriers I see? That's interesting but frustrating. I think about my conversations with Tommy and Benjamin and Sarah and Leo. They all seem to think the job is fair, that everyone has the same opportunity, but they're missing the bigger picture. Or am I? I decide to call Michael, swallow my pride a bit. Hey, so I did the thing. Worked moving jobs all week. Rachel told me. How was it? Brutal. I'm in so much pain. Yeah, it's tough work. Everyone keeps saying that like it's just an accepted fact. Because it is. That's the nature of physical labor. But doesn't it bother you that it's so hard? That it excludes people? He's quiet for a moment. Can I ask you something? What did you think you were going to find? What do you mean? Like, you went into this with a theory. That blue-collar work is structured to exclude women. What evidence did you find for that? I think about it. The physical demands are really high. Right, because it's physical work. What else? The guys are all stronger than me. On average, yeah. But was anyone a dick to you about it? No. Actually, everyone was pretty nice. Did you get paid less? No. Were you harassed? No. So what was the barrier? I'm getting annoyed again. The barrier is that I literally cannot do the work as well as the men. Okay? And why is that? Because men are physically stronger on average, right? So the barrier is biology? I don't like where this is going. The barrier is that the work is structured around male capabilities, but it's structured around the work that needs to be done. Moving heavy things. How would you restructure it? I repeat my points about equipment and smaller loads. He counters the same way Tommy did. More equipment costs money, changes the business model, might not even help that much. Look, he says finally, I think you went into this wanting to find discrimination. And when you didn't find it, you're calling the work itself discriminatory. The outcomes are discriminatory. Almost all men, very few women. But that's not the same as discrimination. That's just different choices and capabilities. Choices that are shaped by society. Maybe, but at some point, don't people have agency? Sarah seems to have agency. She chose this work and she's good at it. Sarah is an exception. Or maybe she's just someone who wanted to do the work and was capable of doing it. And most women don't want to do it because it's hard and there are easier ways to make money. I'm quiet, he continues, gentler now. I'm not saying there's no sexism anywhere. I'm sure it exists in some places. But from what you're describing, it sounds like you worked with decent people doing hard work and paying fair wages. The fact that you couldn't keep up isn't discrimination. It's just reality. So what? Women just shouldn't do this kind of work? Women who want to and can do it should absolutely do it. But we shouldn't pretend that physical differences don't exist. Or that acknowledging them is somehow wrong. We talk for a while longer, but I'm barely listening. After we hang up, I feel deflated. Monday morning, I text James. I don't think I'm coming back. Thanks for the opportunity. He texts back, no problem. You gave it a solid shot. Most people don't even try. I spend Monday recovering, physically and mentally. Tuesday I'm back at my consulting job. My desk feels like a throne. My hands aren't blistered. I'm not covered in bruises. Everything is climate controlled and comfortable. One of my co-workers asks where I was last week. Took some time off. Tried something new, like a vacation? Not exactly. I don't really want to talk about it. Over the next few weeks, I keep thinking about the experience. I wanted to write about it, document the barriers, expose the inequities. But every time I try to start writing, I get stuck. What did I actually experience? Hard work that I wasn't capable of doing well. People who were mostly nice and helpful. A job that paid fairly but required capabilities I don't have. Where's the injustice in that? Where's the story? A month later, I'm at dinner with Rachel and Michael again. Michael brings it up. So, you survive your week as a mover? Barely. What did you learn? I think about how to answer this honestly. I learnt that I'm not cut out for physical labor. That's fair. And I learnt that the people who do it don't really see the problems I see. What problems do you see? This is the question I've been struggling with. I guess I see a system that works for some people and not others. Rachel jumps in. But doesn't every job work for some people and not others? I'd be terrible at construction. Michael would be terrible at my job. That's just how different jobs work. But the pay gap, Michael cuts me off gently. You keep coming back to the pay gap, but you experienced a job where there is no pay gap, where you got paid the same as everyone else for the hours you worked, and you still couldn't do it as well. Doesn't that tell you something? That men are built different? I say it sarcastically, but he nods seriously. Physically? Yeah, on average. That's just biology, and that doesn't bother you? That half the population is just locked out of certain work? They're not locked out. Sarah's not locked out. Women who are strong enough and want to do it can do it, but most women don't want to do it because there are better options. Better how? Easier. Better pay for less physical cost. Why would you destroy your body moving furniture when you can make more money consulting? He has a point. I made more in one day of consulting than I did in an entire week of moving. Rachel adds, and honestly, thank God for that. Can you imagine if the only way to make money was physical labor? We'd all be screwed. Michael laughs. Speak for yourself. But he's smiling. The conversation moves on, but I'm still processing. Over the next few months, I think about it less and less. But sometimes I'll see movers working, or construction workers, or any kind of manual laborers, and I'll remember that week. The pain, the exhaustion, the feeling of being completely out of my depth. And I'll remember Tommy, and Benjamin, and Sarah, and Leo, people just doing their jobs, not thinking about systemic barriers or structural inequities, just showing up and moving furniture and going home. Maybe Michael was right. Maybe I was looking for problems that weren't really there. Or at least not in the way I thought they were. The work is hard. Some people can do it, and some people can't. I couldn't. And that's not discrimination, that's just reality. Men really are built different, at least for that kind of work, and admitting that doesn't make me a bad person. It just makes me honest. I think about writing this all up, about publishing my experience, but what would I even say? I tried manual labor, and it was hard, and I quit. That's not exactly groundbreaking, and it doesn't prove what I wanted it to prove. If anything, it proves the opposite, so I don't write it. I just let it be a weird week in my life. A week where I learnt that not everything is systemic oppression. Sometimes a hard job is just a hard job, and sometimes you're just not strong enough, and that's okay.